discussing the broad outcomes to implementing 21st century skills in what can we expect to see or understand as we begin using these skills in a practical way. Today we will be discussing creativity, our first one, and then innovation, the second, though they are related. Creativity is using various techniques for creating and evolving new ideas, such as brainstorming. I think we talked about that the other day. So creativity is the free flow of ideas, without restriction, without worrying if they're good or bad, right or wrong. It's just getting that creative flow going. You cannot get that creative flow going if we're constantly judging, what we're saying or what someone else is saying. That it simply stops any creativity. Creativity has to be free to express itself without concern or worry what other people are thinking. It's simply ideas related to our subject, related to our goal. It may sound silly, but it doesn't matter. In brainstorming or creative thinking, the key is non-judgmental, respect for others, and inclusion. Getting everyone involved. Because this is where all these new ideas can come from. And someone's idea may trigger something in you that would have never come up had you not heard what they said. And again, don't judge, write them down. So this is the creative process. So you elaborate, refine, and analyze the ideas after the brainstorming session is done. During that session, where it's just a free flow of ideas, nobody gets to judge. Nobody gets to evaluate. It's just coming up with what we think might bear on our goal or our end state, end product. However, once that is completed, now as a team, right, those of us who are contributing, it could be anything from 2 people to 30 people. There comes a practical limit where too many people, it just turns chaotic, but you get the idea. So you refine, you analyze, and evaluate to improve your own creative efforts. So you begin to analyze each one of these ideas, always looking at how does this idea that we're going to review now bear on the subject matter, bear on the goal? How is it related to the goal? That's through analysis, looking at how it can fit as a piece of the final solution. May not be the whole solution, may be only part of it, and that's okay, because maybe somebody else has another piece as you evaluate the ideas. The other thing it helps to do is communicate your views and ideas with others. So this is a team effort. You're using your communication skills in order to communicate your ideas in a way that can, again, bear on the goal. Be open, responsive to diverse ideas. Incorporate group input and feedback into the work. Understand the practical limits of adopting new ideas. What that means is, this may be a really good idea or a set of ideas, but maybe it's outside the boundaries of our project. There are practical limits. It may be time, it may be money, it may be work that are not within the boundaries that we can move. So we have to look at these ideas when we're evaluating them from a practical point of view. It may be good, but if somebody says, well, the way to do this is to build a 4-story building to house all this material. Well, it's a great idea, but you don't have the time or the money or the skills to do that. And if all put your heads together and say, yeah, it's a good idea, but it's just not within our scope. It's not within our capabilities to do that, though it may be a good idea, and we hold it off here on the side. There may be a time in the future when it becomes practical to use that idea. Treat failure as an opportunity to improve. When thinking creatively, I don't see failure as being an option, quite honestly. Creativity isn't a win-lose for me. It's not a right-wrong. Because what you're doing is you're walking a road that people have not walked on before. How can there be a win-lose? There's simply ideas that are practical and can be implemented, and those that cannot. But, having said that, outside of this creative process of brainstorming and idea sharing, there are going to be times when we undertake a project and it just doesn't work. No runs, no hits, no errors, sorry. But don't look at it as a failure per se. Look at it that this one just wasn't meant to work this way, for whatever reason. If you put your best thoughts into it, and your ideas, and tried your best, then all you do is see what could we have done better? What additional information or additional input or discussion might we have in order to make that work better? So, as I said the other day, I think, don't treat failure as a wall. Treat it as a foundation. Find out what you can do better. Then it becomes a help to you. If you're not failing, you're not doing. Some of the greatest thinkers in the world have failed many times before they succeeded. You cannot succeed without failing. It just doesn't work that way. Nobody hits the center of the target 100% of the time. It's impractical to think that. You don't feel bad about it. You don't, laugh at somebody because they didn't get it right. You say, okay, now let's think about this. How can we do this better? What did we miss? As I said, we use the failure as part of a new foundation upon which we can build. You should write that down. You use any failure as a foundation upon which you can build. You don't beat yourself up or other people up because it didn't work out, because then, instead of productive, it becomes a block. It becomes a wall. And that doesn't help. All that does is keep any possibility of future creative thinking and achieving your goals. It just makes it harder. So it's never about what was wrong. It's always about what we can do better. Do you understand? And that's with yourself as well as anyone else. Because oftentimes, we are harder on ourselves than we are on anyone else. But the principle is the same. The principle is the same. How can I do it better? If I wasn't trying, at least, I would have never failed. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before he created the light bulb. Did he let his failures depress him and, oh my goodness, this is awful, I just shouldn't even do this? No. He kept working and working until he finally succeeded. And as a result, we have the electric light. So, always use a failure, depends on how you define it, as an opportunity and not a blockage. I'll say it again. Always use any failure as an opportunity, not a blockage. An opportunity to understand more, an opportunity to dig deeper and gain more knowledge so that the next time, we'll have the outcome that we want. Does that make any sense? It's always looking at things in a positive direction, not negative. Because the energy that we create around us determines what we become. There's that old saying, as a man thinketh, so he is. As you think, whether it's positive or negative, you shape yourself, you shape your mind, you shape the way you interact with the world. And if it's positive, people want to be around positive people. People want to help someone who's looking for solutions, not just identifying problems. I was quoted in a magazine once, and it was in an IT magazine, and what I said was, to see problems is easy. To see solutions is tougher. Okay? To see problems is easy. To see solutions is tougher. Be solution-oriented. Write it down. Be solution-oriented, not problem-oriented. That's an important point. Always think solution. Always think, how can I solve the problem? Always think, what can I do to make this better? Never, oh, this is terrible, because then you go nowhere. Then you go nowhere. So that's a little about creativity. Does anybody have any questions dealing with creativity? All right. So the next 21st century skill we'll discuss is innovation. Well, innovation really is the blood brother of creativity, right? If we are creative, it's to create something new, a new way of thinking, doing, a new device of some sort. That's thinking about it, thinking creatively to create something new. Innovation is picking an area, picking a specific goal, and you have to define it. What area do I want to make better, more efficient, more effective, works better? That's called innovating. Innovating, putting new ideas into practice. As you can see, creativity and innovation are very close together. Creativity is more abstract. You know, it's those aha moments, coming up with new ideas. Innovation is, if you're an innovator, you're going to pick a particular area and you're going to create something new, innovative, that has not been done before. For example, I was in a consulting firm for many years, and I was the manager of a team of IT support people. And I saw my people working, and I said, well, how are we doing? I mean, how are we doing according to our customers' expectations? And everybody goes, I don't know. I go, that's not right. If the customer complains to us, we don't have a leg to stand on. So what I did is I started designing a piece of software that tracked work and effort against a particular task. Whether it was an incident, something got broke, or what we call call support, which is answering questions, or a project, meaning software repair or extension. So had a computer system that tracked the work against the resources assigned to it and put the goals that we promised the customer so we could measure our work. So that little piece of software over time expanded and grew until it actually ran our entire outsourcing application support business. And over 27 years or so, that was responsible for earning the company $750 million of revenue. $750 million. So you never know what crazy idea you might come up with that may have a profound effect on, wherever you're working or whatever you're doing. If you have this kind of gut feeling that we can do this better, And then just come up with ideas, talk about it to friends or colleagues. And you'd be surprised, I've got a US patent for it because nobody ever thought of that before. So the idea is patented. So anything any one person can do, others can do. You just have to have the desire, the will, the drive, and not be afraid to do, not be afraid to fail. Just keep working, keep working, keep working. And always know that there's some way around the problem, over the problem, through the problem. Just don't give up. Don't give up. And you can have a very rewarding and successful life. People who give up easily, they neither succeed nor are they usually happy, because all they can see is failure. I gave up too soon. I didn't. What would have happened if I would have stayed with it? What would have happened if I would have worked just a little harder, a little longer? You begin wondering that your whole life. You don't want to do that. And I didn't want to do that. I would rather fail 100 times just for that one moment when, dang, it worked. You have no idea what a feeling that is. It's like, you know, somebody gave you a big shot of the best tasting orange juice in the world. Amritam. It's such an emotional high to succeed. But succeeding doesn't come without some failure in the past as your foundation, as I said. It doesn't happen without you trying over and over and not giving up. It doesn't happen without getting help from others. Usually, the best ideas that are implemented, you're able to convince others, get allies that say, oh, wow, that's a good idea, I'll help you out. Because people want to be part of something that is innovative, that is creative. I had people come in on weekends and work with me off hours on our own time to create a prototype that eventually we presented to the president of the company. We weren't clock punchers. Oh, it's 8 o'clock, I'm in, and 5 o'clock, I'm gone. If you're that kind of person, you'll be a drone your whole life. A drone is just someone who puts one foot in front of the other, never really succeeds, never really fails. They just try to maintain the status quo. I didn't want to do that in my life. I knew I was better than that. You're better than that. You're better than that. But you've got to see that within yourself. You've got to be able to go out and take risks. Not stupid ones, but calculated risks. Calculated risks. Get others to help you. Share that risk and share the reward. We all got huge bonuses when we implemented this software in one of our teams, and it really did show that we were able to lower our customers' costs by 30% because we would do what we call root cause analysis. We found out why something broke. We documented it. We measured it. And as a result of that, we were able to get it so it never broke again. Where other companies that fix it and fix it again and fix it again, they didn't care. They were making the same money whether it worked, the first time or the 20th. That wasn't our attitude. Our attitude was fix it so it doesn't break again. The customer loved us. And as a result of that, the company at the time was AMP. It was a $6 billion a year electronic component manufacturer. They had, 100 people supporting their systems as different contracting firms, mine being one of them. Well, as a result of being able to show and demonstrate results over a 1.5 year period of time as the other people's contracts ran out, instead of giving them to the other company again, they gave it to us. And over, let's say, a 2.5-year period, we got every support team in the company. That's what happens. If you keep going, keep trying, and if it's not working right, figure out another way. Sit down and brainstorm with colleagues, with friends. This is how that whole creative and innovative process works. And it's fun. I found it just a tremendous amount of fun just to think up new ideas and then be innovative and implement them. Try them out. Some worked, some didn't. No problem. We adjust it. We adjust this. Oh, now it works better. So you're always looking for solutions, always looking for ways of making things better. Not jumping up and down and harping on the problems. Somebody just talking about problems never gets anywhere, because all they see is darkness. If you're thinking solutions, what you're trying to do is bring in the light. Shine the light on things. Then you see clearly. This can work in many, many different areas of life. So creativity, brainstorm, come up with ideas, respect others, don't judge. At some point say, we're done brainstorming. Now let's evaluate the ideas against our goal. How many fit, how many don't? How many can work together? Fine. Now let's take this area here and be innovative. Let's go ahead and try looking at it this way and trying it out in the real world. That's how those work together. And it's a blast. It's so much fun. As I told some people, I said, I never worked for 45 years. I just had a lot of fun for 45 years. Because I loved helping people and I loved solving problems. That's what I did. It was a gas. And when we would come in, people would be, oh, this is all terrible, it's awful. But after a few months of my team and I being there, people are smiling. They're going home at night to their families and they're less stressed because all those things that were breaking or causing them, their bosses to jump on their shoulders and say, why hasn't this been fixed, are gone. So it has a ripple effect. It has a ripple effect. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Now, sometimes creativity just means the daily work of helping others to see a problem in a different way. Sometimes it's simple things, where maybe a friend of yours is struggling with some idea, some piece of work, and for whatever reason, you can see around their problem in a way that might help. You're seeing it from a different angle, a creative angle. Well, if you can help them, why not? Just say, hey, let's sit down a few minutes. Let's talk about this. I have an idea. And then you share your idea, and then the other person will all of a sudden unfreeze. Because now you're looking at solutions, not problems. And when they unfreeze, now they start thinking solutions. And as a result, together, you could come up with a way to get the job done that everyone benefits. Everyone feels good. And this does work, trust me. That's most of my life, I've worked like that. And I had I've had ups and downs in my career, just like everybody. But for the most part, it was just a gas. I traveled all over the world, solving problems and helping people be happy, about what they were doing. That's really all I did. And it was like, constantly being fed happy drugs. Because I'd get a rush of emotion, of good feelings when this person goes, wow, I'm glad that's done. Or, wow, I'm glad that is out of the way. Now I can see how to move forward, where before they were stuck in the middle of the mud. All we did, we knew our trade, and at the same time, we wanted to help. If you're going into consulting, that is the best attitude to have. It's called a customer focus, where my customers were the most important thing to me. If they were up at night with a problem in an area that I was responsible for, I was up at night. I would never, ever let my customers feel the pain without me being a level above that. So again, it's not thinking of yourself, but thinking of others. And let me tell you, I've got a booklet. I don't know if I might even be able to show somebody if they're interested, of letters and commendations from my customers, where one customer wrote, "Bob and his team treat us like customers, not problems." And that was one of the nicest things that anyone said. So that's the kind of person that gets ahead in the world. That's the way to fulfill your dreams, is by helping others fulfill theirs. It does work. It does work. CK, where he is? Would you do the summary?